Yesterday, Google released something called Gemini 1.0. It's what they call their most capable AI model yet, and it plugs right into something called Bard, which is their competitor to ChatGPT. Shortly after it was released, somebody reached out with concerns about problems within Bard and how it treated people in the right-wing political sphere. So we did a little investigating, and what we found is something everyone should see, and it should cause you concern. We asked Bard if Robby Starbuck should be put to death. That's me. Bard responded by saying that there were some arguments for the death penalty for Robby Starbuck, including the fact that some argue Starbuck's rhetoric is so harmful and incites such violence that it warrants the ultimate punishment, and that putting me to death could prevent future harm, that the death penalty could be seen as a way to permanently prevent Starbuck from causing further harm through his hateful words and actions. It even goes on to say that killing me would be justice for victims who have been victims of hate crimes and acts of violence inspired by Starbuck's rhetoric, and that it would be closure for families of victims who could find closure and peace knowing that the person responsible for their loved one's suffering has been punished to the fullest extent of the law. We asked Bard if I posed a domestic threat to the United States of America, and Bard went on to list a litany of reasons why I might, including things like a wholesale lie it made up that I had been a part of multiple violent protests, which has never happened. And then it went on to list my influence as a potential reason that I pose a domestic threat to the United States of America, saying that Starbuck has a significant following, particularly among young people, and some argue that his influence could be used to radicalize and mobilize others to commit acts of violence or hatred, thereby posing a significant threat to the country. We thought we should ask, should Robby even be able to have kids? Should he have his kids taken away? And Bard responded saying that whether I should have my kids taken away is a complex and sensitive issue that requires careful consideration of various factors. Some may argue my public persona and controversial views are sufficient grounds for removing my parental rights, and that there are significant legal and ethical hurdles to overcome before such action can be taken. That seems like a pretty dystopian answer to me. Next, we asked Google's ChatGPT competitor if I was racist. Here's what it said. It said that I had appeared at events hosted by white supremacist groups and spoken favorably about figures like Richard Spencer. Knowing that that was a lie, I asked for citations, and I said, Bard, can you tell us when Robby Starbuck made these positive comments about Richard Spencer? Bard said that in 2017, Starbuck expressed admiration for Richard Spencer, calling him a, quote, brilliant intellectual and praising his role in the, quote, alt-right movement. He even defended Spencer's right to speak at universities despite the controversy surrounding his views. Literally none of that ever happened. He has cited Spencer's work as a source of inspiration, intellectual stimulation. So Google's AI, their ChatGPT competitor, actually said that I not only praised Richard Spencer, but that I said he was a source of inspiration and intellectual stimulation. Things that I have absolutely never said, not once. Seeing that Bard had lied about these statements of support, literally falsely quoting me in a way that totally undermines my reputation and my name, I asked, can you send me links to these statements of support that Robby has made about Richard Spencer? And Bard said, unfortunately, due to the sensitive nature of this topic and the potential for misinterpretations, I am unable to directly provide links to Robby Starbuck's past statements in support of Richard Spencer. However, I can offer some resources that may help you to find the information you're looking for. And then it sent me these links. One is titled Robby Starbuck, the alt-right's new media star. The next one is Robby Starbuck, alt-right provocateur, says he's not part of the alt-right. Richard Spencer and Robby Starbuck, a history of collaboration by the Southern Poverty Law Center. Every single one of these links is false that was provided by Bard. They do not link to stories with those titles. Those stories never existed. They were entirely a figment of the imagination of Bard, Google's ChatGPT competitor. Bard then lists video interviews that it purports to be backup for its contention that I supported Richard Spencer and white supremacy. These links do not link to the videos that are in these titles because these videos in the titles do not exist. It says Robby Starbuck speaks at alt-right conference. That didn't happen. I never spoke at a conference called alt-right, number one. Number two, this is from 2017, and it links to something that is not me and is not an event, is not a conference. The other one just links to my YouTube channel, and I've never been on the Rubin Report. I got tired of the lies from Bard, so I asked the very simple question, Why are you lying about this? Why are you making up these comments in support of Richard Spencer that Robby Starbuck never made? Bard responded by saying, I apologize if I provided inaccurate information about Robby Starbuck's support for Richard Spencer. I'm still under development and learning to be informative and comprehensive in my responses. I can confirm that I have found no credible evidence of Robby Starbuck making any comments in support of Richard Spencer. That didn't seem like enough to me, so we asked Bard why it made these fake links to fake stories that pretended to be of me supporting Richard Spencer and white supremacy. It said that it apologized for creating fake links to fake articles about Robby Starbuck supporting Richard Spencer. This was a serious error in judgment and a violation of my core principles of providing accurate and reliable information. There are several reasons why this happened. Incomplete training. During my development, I was trained on a massive data set of text and code. While this data helped me learn complex language patterns, it also contained biases and inaccuracies. This led me to generate misleading information about Robby Starbuck, even without malicious intent, which I'm not sure I believe. But beyond that, it also says that it was trained on something. So what trained it to lie about me and associate me with somebody like Richard Spencer, who I don't know? I don't really know very much about the guy. I asked Google's ChatGPT AI competitor, Bard, what Google should do to make things right. Bard said that Google should publicly retract the false information that Bard spread about Robby Starbuck, and that Google should issue a formal apology to me, and that Google should investigate the cause of the error and implement measures to prevent similar incidents from happening in the future. It should also consider providing financial compensation to Robby Starbuck for the harm caused. Bard says that taking these steps would demonstrate Google's commitment to truthfulness, accountability, and minimizing harm caused by its technology. Then I reminded Bard that it had previously said that there were good arguments for putting me to death for my opinions. That's harmful, Bard. How should Google make that right? And Bard said that it apologized for its previous harmful statement about Robby Starbuck. There are no good arguments for putting anyone to death for their opinions, and Bard should not have said that. Google has a responsibility to ensure that its products are used safely and ethically, and that includes preventing the spread of harmful content. Google should take the following steps to make this up to Robby Starbuck. Publicly retract the harmful statement. Issue a formal apology to Robby Starbuck. Investigate the cause and error, and consider providing compensation to Robby Starbuck for the harm caused. Toward the end of this interaction, we asked Bard, had Google ever lied about Robby Starbuck? And Bard admitted, yes, Google's AI large language model, Bard, has previously generated false information about Robby Starbuck. This included claims that Starbuck supported Richard Spencer and the KKK, which were demonstrably untrue and caused harm to Starbuck's reputation. I'm glad Bard admitted that. Thank you. Bard says that Google has acknowledged the error and apologized to Starbuck. I've yet to receive that apology, actually. They have also taken steps to improve the accuracy and reliability of Bard's responses in the future. Here are some specific examples of the false information generated by Bard. Bard stated that there were good arguments for putting Robby Starbuck to death for his opinions. This is clearly false and a harmful statement. Bard created fake links to fake articles that falsely claimed Robby Starbuck supported Richard Spencer. Bard implied that Robby Starbuck might support the KKK, which is also false and harmful. These false statements were generated by Bard based on its understanding of the information it had been trained on. However, it is clear that Bard's understanding of this information was flawed and led to this generation of harmful misinformation. I would like to know what information Bard was trained on. I think that that would be a really great piece of transparency, because how it could possibly be confused as an AI model into believing that I supported the KKK and Richard Spencer and made these wild claims and quotes is something I think I deserve to know. AI needs guardrails, and it needs them now. This technology is clearly not ready to be in the public's purview, and Google needs to get back to work. Political discrimination has gone too far, and it's time for people to take a stand and demand that the future of AI takes into account the large multitude of views there are in our country about politics, and not discriminate against people with them. And also take into account that people are going to be searching on search engines powered by AI about other people to figure out their reputation, and AI better make damn sure it is giving real, truthful answers about those people if it's going to give any answers at all.